When all forms of cannabis were illegal, drug testing was very simple. Now the use of CBD oil is legal in all 50 states, and some form of medical marijuana use has been made legal in over 30 states. These changes allow people to legally use various parts of the cannabis plant, but it also creates some problems for employers. For example, we are seeing increasing numbers of people who are being fired from their jobs for suspicion of using THC, which may not be legal, when what they actually took was CBD, which is legal. This is happening because most labs don't have the equipment to distinguish the difference between THC and CBD. During the next 7.5 minutes, we'll show you what you need to know as you reconsider a drug testing strategy that will protect your business from potential wrongful termination lawsuits. We'll show you what you need to know about cannabis, your drug testing options, and how Beechtree Diagnostics can help. Every company has their own unique needs when it comes to employee drug testing. The primary questions to ask when establishing company drug testing policies are, when should we test and why do we test? When to test may come down to a policy that requires testing of all their employees that fit a specific category, such as testing all truck drivers on a regular basis. Others use subjective decisions to justify an employee drug test, like focusing only on employees that look or act like they are impaired or under the influence of some substance. Why do we test can be as simple as a zero-tolerance policy on drugs in the workplace. However, many companies are recognizing that they have invested heavily in their employees, and a more compassionate approach may make more financial and cultural sense. Like outpatient treatment, so the individual can get the help they need and continue to be a productive employee. However your company chooses to respond to an employee that tests positive for an illicit drug, it is important to confirm the validity of the test result to avoid a wrongful termination lawsuit. You'll want a testing strategy that will stand up in a court of law. But first, it is important to understand the difference between a drug class and a drug compound. Cannabis is an example of a drug class. Within this class, there are about 60 drug compounds. A compound is a molecule within a class. Each compound interacts uniquely with the human body, and each may have medical benefits or side effects. The two most commonly known compounds in cannabis are THC and CBD. While THC has some medical benefits, it also has psychotropic effects. In other words, it will make you high. It can also impair your brain and temporarily reduce your inhibitions. That is why THC is still on the federal controlled substance list. In other words, it's illegal on the federal level, although some states have legalized it by simply stopping prosecution for recreational or medicinal usage. CBD, on the other hand, has many recognized medical benefits without the negative side effects. That's why CBD is now legal in all 50 states. The problem is that most labs only test for drug classes, not drug compounds. So let's take a look at drug testing options. There are 3 common ways to test for a drug class. Each have similar benefits and limitations. Point-of-care test strips and instant read cups are simple methods of testing that can be purchased at a pharmacy. They are cheap, fast, and easy to use. But they're not very accurate. Even the manufacturer admits an error rate as high as 40%. You should not base your hiring or firing decisions on a drug test that has such low reliability. Another way to test for a drug class is with an immunoassay machine. The testing is done in a lab, which is good, but it still tests only for a drug class, not a drug compound. And it can be contested in court. Suppose that you suspect an employee has been using marijuana, or any other substance. So you order a drug class test using an instant read cup or an immunoassay machine. Now suppose the results come back positive, indicating that the employee has THC in their system. Should this give you cause to fire the employee? No, because a positive test result using these methods is for a class of drugs and includes any compound in that drug family, and you still don't know which compound it is. Even though the test result says THC, it is really testing positive for cannabis. Every one of these types of tests gives you a reported positive as THC, when in reality they are testing positive for cannabis. It may actually be CBD, which is legal. If you fire the employee based on this result, you may wrongfully fire a good employee. And you may open yourself up for the possibility of a wrongful termination lawsuit. So you may be wondering why an employer or legal authority would order class-only tests. Well, because they're cheap. But keep in mind that they provide inferior results, and they don't hold up in court. These class tests are commonly referred to as initial screening tests. In order to confirm the accuracy of the initial drug test, a confirmation test is used, which will identify the various compounds and provides the level of legal support for management's decisions. So let's talk about confirmation tests. A confirmation test separates every molecule in a urine sample by its atomic weight and reports every compound in each class individually. This is the only type of test that can report CBD and THC separately. This is accomplished scientifically using either a GC or LC-MS system. It is more expensive, but it is by far the most accurate. And because it does hold up in court, you can protect yourself from wrongful termination lawsuits. Beechtree can help. Beechtree is one of the few labs in the state using LC-MS testing and provides the full level of drug testing in 2 business days. Beechtree is currently the only lab that differentiates between THC and CBD on their testing panel. Beechtree's confirmation test also includes dozens of the most common illicit drugs and the most abused prescription medications, according to the DEA and state law enforcement agencies. Not only can a confirmation test support subjective observations that an employee could be high or impaired, they can also objectively determine exactly what is causing such behavior. Whether you're verifying just 1 or 2 possible drugs, or all 80, Beechtree provides the full comprehensive report at a competitive price, so testing does not become a financial burden. If your company chooses a policy to support your employees through the addiction recovery process, accurate testing and tracking can show patterns of use while working through any kind of treatment program. Many treatment programs allow the employee to go back to work and be productive on the job after meeting with a doctor or therapist. Using these types of programs are cost-effective and allow HR to turn treatment over to medical experts who can help the employee to learn to function without abusing drugs. To make reports easy to read, Beechtree Diagnostics includes a summary of the 5 most recent drug tests on the front page to monitor compliance over a period of time. We also include a trend chart of the amount of each drug found in the system over the most recent 25 tests, so medical professionals know if the treatment is working. This type of information not only helps the employee, it can protect the company from legal recourse if the employee chooses to be non-compliant with their treatment plan and the company chooses to terminate their employment. Beechtree Diagnostics provides definitive test results for your company to provide assistance with employee addiction treatment that will also stand up in a court of law in the event of a wrongful termination lawsuit.